Reminder to everybody, what movies you've been a part of. If you don't mind me taking a moment and sharing this. Okay, Wall Street. We just watched it with the kids the other day, okay? Writer and director. Wall Street Money Never Sleeps with Shia LaBeouf, director. Midnight Express, writer. Conan the Barbarian, writer. Scarface, writer. Platoon, writer and director. Born on 4th of July, writer, director, producer. JFK, all three. Natural Born Killers, all three. Nixon, by the way, I loved Nixon. I can't believe most people don't watch that. Yeah. It's such a great, Anthony Hopkins, phenomenal movie with the stories you see. Evita, Any Given Sunday, Alexander, Snowden. I can keep going on. Things you've done with Lula, 2024 writer, director, Putin, all the interviews. It's great to have you here again.
Don't forget nuclear energy.
Oh, that's right. Nuclear energy with Russia, which we'll get into that as well. Oliver, if you want to get a little closer to the mic, that'd be great. But it's great to have you guys here. So let me ask you for you,
Where's my camera? I don't see myself.
You have 6 cameras on you.
You have so many cameras, but for you, when you think about it yourself, Sean, to you, he's your dad.
Yeah.
But I mean, what is it for you when maybe we miss it? What do you think is the most impressive thing he's done in his career?
It's a good question.
From your perspective, not ours.
What is the most impressive thing?
Giving birth.
I don't think you did that. Apparently, you got kicked out of the hospital because he was watching the Niners. He was watching the Niners Giants game
when you were born.
Playoff game, '84.
Not before.
My wife, 84.
He got kicked out of
the Niners won at least. He was happy.
No, that's not true. It takes a long time. You have to sit there.
12 hours sometimes.
And it was a Saturday or something, and I wanted to see that game. So my wife, I said I'm going to go out and come back, and I came back with a pizza.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. And it was nauseating, the smell. She couldn't take it. So she asked me, get the fuck out. She was screaming. But then I came back. I saw him being born, by the way. I saw him coming out.
You saw him being born.
He did.
That's cool. So what do you think it is? What do you think it is from your end? Like, because for us, again, as fans, you're on the inside.
Yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, I was more on a certain level of personal insight, but he's got a whole other life that I don't know. I think it's hard for me to say what's most impressive. You look at the films and what he's been able to do consistently across the years is be authentic and be, a storyteller that's not beholden to the system. So you can't say what, JFK is the most important film or Platoon and Born. I mean, each one is a personal experience, right? Some people
Do you have a favorite?
This one more than the other. No, I mean, you mentioned like Wall Street, like very watchable, right? Wall Street's kind of movie you can watch
multiple times.
I agree. Scarface, you can watch it multiple times.
True.
JFK, I've probably seen the most, I would say.
Really?
Well, I like thriller, conspiracy, mystery, and it's such a rabbit hole that you start going down. You recognize there's a lot of details that you can't get on one or two tries watching it because it's such a thorough film. Nixon also has that quality.
I just love. I was surprised how many people I asked, "Have you seen Nixon? Have you seen Nixon? Have you seen?" No, I haven't seen it. Like, I don't know why you haven't seen it. I obviously I think it's a 3.5 hour movie, maybe 3 hour and 10-minute movie. I don't. Can you pull up how many?
312.
Is it 312? Yeah, it's a long movie, but I could not stop watching that film to learn the history and the acting and the 312. Wow, you know the exact minute. That's pretty wild that you know the minute.
Yeah, you got to fight for these things.
What do you mean you got to fight for these?
A 3-hour movie in those days was not normal at all. It was a special event. When I grew up, it was what they called, an intermission film. It was a spectacle. But by the time it's 1980s, 90s, it was turned in. You had to make it as a single feature, and that because they don't want to. They were playing. The theater owners were putting pressure on the studios. We want quicker. We want quicker turnovers. We want 6 turnovers a day. We want to sell popcorn in between. There's all kinds of economic reasons for it. A 3-hour and 12 movie is a killer. You only have 4 shows, 3-day shows a day. Okay.
So like now with streaming,
you're a businessman. You should know that.
That makes sense. So you can't play that many. So I can do 2, 5 times. I can do 3, maybe 3 or 4 times.
Right.
That's the way they think.
You get like a 2 o'clock, a 5 o'clock.
A comedy, that hour 45, perfect.
That's what they like.
Oh,
the hour 45.
Hour 40 even.
Well, I mean, what do they prefer? Do they prefer a 3-hour hit that gets hundreds of people coming in, or an hour 45 that 5 people show up?
JFK was a hit. Nixon was not, because I think it was a darker poster and he was a darker man. And John Kennedy was more popular. Also, people were interested in his assassination. Whereas the Nixon presidency was shrouded with ambiguities, and that was a problem, selling it. That was a problem selling it. We didn't have a big American star. We had Anthony Hopkins, who's a just very good English
He
actor.
wasn't a big star at the time?
No, he was not.
Are you kidding? What
His
year
previous
is this?
film was Remains of the Day, and Remains of the Day was his biggest film.
Legends of the Fall.
He was a father in that?
No, that's not true. Hopkins had won the Best Actor for Silence of the
Oh,
Lambs.
I'm sorry. Silence.
Yeah.
Yes, you're
Yeah.
right.
So Nixon is post Silence of the Lambs?
Yes. One
I
picture.
mean, meaning Anthony Hopkins. Yeah, Anthony Hopkins to me, do you put him up there for you with guys you worked at? He's
Oh, I put him at the top, one of the top, yeah. Up there with Al Pacino. Yeah, sure. He was a wonderful man.
what makes, because for you, we were talking and the audience doesn't see this. And I said, guys, let's go because we're already having a podcast, right? And what did you say? You said you want all of it to be what was the word used? You said authentic, or you want it to be you used some word where he said he just wanted to be off the cuff. And I said, yeah, that's interesting because in your world, do it again, second take, third take, fourth take. What's the most takes you've ever done in a scene?
Not that many. I'm not that patient. Maybe 12, 13, 14.
really? Oh, okay.
And that's not working. I mean, I try to make change. Some directors will let it roll and roll and roll because it's tape. I don't feel that way. I feel it's a waste of energy. You got to concentrate that energy.
One time, one actor had memory problems. He was getting
several.
older,
Yeah.
and you had to put the cue cards up and then basically force him to just read the cue cards. It was
That's
pretty
right.
painful. I don't know if that was.
Is this an actor we know
15 to-
or?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we shouldn't.
Yeah.
He's a good actor. Academy Award winner, but he.
Oh, wow.
He reached that stage when drugs and stuff or whatever medications had slowed him
Got
down.
it. And then what do you do in that moment? Are you frustrated? Because
Oh, yeah. I had the other actor was sitting across the table from him, and those people who remember this would know that the other actor was eating the tuna fish sandwich for the scene. It was a lunch scene. So he's eating the sandwich, and he ate 17 or 18 of them, and I was really worried about his. He was
Weight?
but he was a strong guy, and he managed to absorb.
They
it.
were ham sandwiches. I think he was getting sick.
Tuna
Not-
sandwich.
no, it was ham, I think.
It was really hard. Yeah, hard. That's hard. Those are hard moments, man.
So
The director goes through some hells.
what when you see stuff for us who were not in it, we see the Christian Bale lose his mind clip, right? I don't know if you've seen it or not, right? You ever seen Christian Bale getting upset at the camera guys, at the light guys?
On
Have you seen that
on Terminator 3 or 4?
Right.
He flipped out. He wasn't really happy with the film in general. I think it was not his kind of movie, right?
Yeah, I mean, and Christian Bale is a phenomenal actor. In my opinion, he's a phenomenal actor. But you see him, you see Tom Cruise, you see some of those. Is that pretty common with the temper flaring? Because as an artist, as a creator, in that moment, you're getting in such a unique state that you need zero distractions. Is that kind of...
Well, it happens quite more than you think. Yeah, people get nervous and they get upset because it takes time. And it's a grueling process over 60 days, 50 days, depends. And I've seen many people lose their temper. Everyone loses their temper on something, right? Well, it's not fun. It's not fun to be the director of that person, but that happens. And we have to live with it. It's part of life. They're happy sometimes and they're miserable some other times. But it's a hard process. It's a life process. Every film takes something out of you. I feel like it's a tree with rings around it. You got those rings, they build up. I don't know how in the old days they did 50, 60, 80 films. Okay. You have to a certain point, you have to be insensitive and cut it off. And it's just a role, it's just a movie. And you get into a different attitude.
You used to lose your temper a lot more, though. I think you've calmed over the years.
Who?
You used to lose your temper a lot.
Oh, not talking about myself. I'm talking about the actor.
No, but you had some big fights.
Of course I did. Every director has
What happened with you and Shia? Something happened with Shia LaBeouf.
nothing. Shia was a good actor. Very, he's very opinionated. That's all. So save the opinions because you don't have to tell me about the screenplay and about what you think about the movie and all that.
No, but you had a very funny conflict with Val, right? Kilmer. You guys got along much better later, but on The Doors, remember, you were
That
at
was
each
tough,
other's
yeah.
throats.
That was tough. He was a bit of a prima donna in my mind.
Val was
At that point.
at that point.
Yeah.
And so for you,
But he was working very hard. Remember that. And he was doing the songs too. He was dead. He was close to dead. He cost us a fortune in massages. You know, I mean, we had about every time he wasn't listening, we had to pay somebody. It was a fortune.
seriously,
We went way over budget on that.
just for massages.
Well, the film was over budget, but that was a big part of it too.
Wow.
You don't think of these things, do you?
I mean, does it get like, there's a story of Maradona who they said, hey, we want you to be the coach of whatever Argentina. I don't know if you've heard about this or not, where he says, yeah, no problem. But you know what? To do that, I need a bathroom and I need my bathroom to be gold. They said, what do you mean? You ever heard this story or no? Yeah, Rob, can you pull this up to see if Maradona gold bathroom. Just you type in gold bathroom. Let's see if it comes up or not. Diego Maradona's toilet seat evokes memorable, maybe you heard, or Maradona, zoom in a little bit. Argentina World Cup, Diego Maradona reportedly requested that his 2 high-tech toilets, heated seats, cost $150 each, to which page wonders, $50,000 office bathroom overhaul, requesting. Anyways, maybe it's not this one. If you go to the picture, images, he wanted a bathroom that was golden, okay? His request was. Is that the one? It's one of those. It says Maradona. Yeah. What is the weirdest request an actor's made? And Oliver, how do you handle that? When they come to you and they say, hey, Oliver, listen, this guy wants us to do X, Y, Z. I mean, I can imagine if they say, Val wants to do 6 massages a day. 6 massages a day? Yes. What's the weirdest request you got?
You remember?
I wouldn't know. That's all. A lot of that just gets moved out in the deal structure in the beginning, right? And they'll put in these crazy requests, like you hear about this stuff. Will Smith has his own private gym. He has got a trailer for his gym, and they've got to bring their. I've heard people have to bring their private hairdresser, their driver.
Those are the worst.
They bring on their producing. They add all kinds of.
It's the wasted money. Yeah, it's the fringes. Well, we always try to keep that down in the pictures I made because they were dedicated to a purpose. We're trying to get this thing done. And the studios were never that cooperative with my stuff. It was always a struggle to get it made. You can imagine, even JFK. So you can't. It wasn't these were not movies given to the luxury system that Hollywood had in the 80s, 90s now. But Sean is right. It's the requests would be for assistants and their publicists and that public. And by the time it grows into a little entourage of 8, 9, 10 people, special people to help them with the accent and help them with the physical trainer has to go. Sometimes the gym equipment has to go. It's ridiculous. Get used to, it's not like the old days. Get used to life on location, for Christ's sake.
Oliver, who is a big shot, award-winning, that's the chillest, humblest, easiest to work with?
Well, I haven't worked with that many of them.
Stop it. You work with everybody.
Yeah, but they were humble at that time. Everybody was humble. Mr. Hopkins, Mr. Pacino. Tom Cruise was young. He hadn't gone into that other hyperspace. And
you're talking about Born on 4th of July.
Charlie was normal. So Charlie Sheen. It was Willem Dafoe has always been humble. I can't really. I don't relate to those kind of people. I wouldn't hire them in the first place if possible.
What do you mean by that? What if they're the
if they
best?
had that reputation? You hear about it. You don't want to have You don't want all the fringes. You have to be careful. So you have to set the rules at the beginning. Listen, I'm going to make this kind of movie. It's going to cost this amount. We got to move at this pace. Are you going to be on board or not? Otherwise, you have to walk away. But sometimes you need them to get the fucking film financed.
That's what I'm saying. Some of these guys have the name.
It becomes a double-edged sword. Or as they say, dual use.
Sean, what is from your end? What is the sensitivity from the talent sensitivity versus the director sensitivity? How different is that?
Well, I mean, there are different ways of feeling in the world. I would just to put it like this: is the director is almost like the chess player, right? They have to feel, but they have to be strategically looking at everything. The actor is immersing themselves into feelings and moods that sometimes are maddening. I did the behind the scenes on Alexander. That was my first foray into filmmaking, was doing documentaries back when the DVDs had the behind the scene extras, and they would have the featurettes about the making of, or, on W we did the same thing, and Nixon we did this real story. So on Alexander, I shot Fight Against Time, a feature length documentary, and I got really good access to be able to see not fully the conversations, but to see a little bit of the dynamic. And it's like, Colin Farrell was going through deep moods and experiences and madness at some points, actually.
While the movie's being shot, you're recording him and talking to him.
Yeah, it's in the documentary, and you'll see how it's like there are points where you start to wonder, is this guy gonna end up like James Dean? Is he gonna kill himself because he's so passionate and erratic, and he was a drinker at the time, and he's Irish, and it was a little bit of it was testing his his nerves to say, okay, can he pull this off without going over the edge, right? And I think that's the issue, is always, when you pulling out a performance from an actor, it's like pushing them to a place that's uncomfortable, and that goes to the question of the conflict that sometimes occurs, is that he knows how to push buttons. There's a very famous story of telling Michael Douglas on the first day of Wall Street or second day of Wall Street, I saw the dailies from yesterday. What are you, like, you're a TV actor? He'll say stuff like that to provoke, right?
With a straight look or with a smile?
No, it's totally straight. I think Douglas was shocked. No?
That's probably true. It's probably true, yeah. We were having issues on the first. It was the wrong. He approached it. I have to say, he may not agree with me. He's right. But he approached the movie like it was The Streets of San Francisco or something, one of the TV series that he did. It was just not this depth that I was looking for. I needed he was a major figure in the film. He was the antagonist. And frankly, he got an Academy Award, so something happened. He deepened in that movie as an actor.
What are you telling them? What are you telling them?
Well, you have to, first of all, deal with it. You have to deal with what you're seeing. I mean, you may not be right. It might be too subjective. But be honest. If it's the time to be honest, sometimes you hold back. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, as a director, is a part of the director not being afraid of getting under their skin?
You have to be. You have to tell the truth to some degree. You can't just fake it. I hate those directors who always say, "Oh, great job, great job." The words become meaningless, the currency useless. You have to have some truth factor in all your relationships. Otherwise, you're not. You're a boutique. Otherwise, you're just being a showman. You're a traffic cop.
How do you manage that versus walking on eggshells around you? Was there an element of walking on eggshells around you, and is that okay?
I think I was famous for walking on eggshells.
You're walking on eggshells, or the people around you were walking on eggshells?
I don't know. Come on.
You know what I'm asking? Because to me,
that's a good point.
Is the idea of keeping the standards so high, where the actor's coming and saying, "Oh shit, I got to deal with him. I got to be ready for it," and then he's going to say something to upset you.
No, I don't. I never do that on purpose unless something was going wrong. For example, let's say an actress comes in and she's more concerned about.
Oliver, can you speak into the microphone?
She's more concerned about her the way she looks and the way she doesn't give a damn about the movie or the other people. It's just her. And when you have that kind of egocentric personality, you have to move away from that. You have to get more into the shadows.
What will you say to that person?
Well, you have to start dealing with that psyche, and that's not easy sometimes because some people are very hung up on themselves.
How much of it is private? How much of it is public around everybody?
Something, that's a good question, because usually I keep everything private, but the crew feels it. The crew knows. In fact, sometimes the crew knows ahead of the director. You hear the words. The ADs, they talk, and the camera crews are very sharp. They've been on a lot of movies. If the actress or actor is a dud, they know it, and they'll let you know it. If he's just not up, he or she is not up to par, they'll let you know. It's an interesting thing that goes on. It's dynamic.
But by the way, let me ask you this. So you did Wall Street 1, the main cast is all in 2, right? Money Never Sleeps.
No Daryl Hannah, no Sean Young. Charlie just does a cameo in 2.
Oh, you're right. Charlie just does a cameo, but he is in it at least, right? There is a cameo of him. how much when you were doing Money Never Sleeps, because the movie did so well, did you call Charlie or talk to him and say, hey, here's what I'm thinking about doing. What do you think about this? Or no, hey, Charlie, I'm doing this. I need you to do this.
Yeah, I just asked him, and he was very friendly about it. Yeah, he was making a comeback at that time.
Was he upset that he was not the guy playing in Wall
No,
Street?
because he was a younger man. It was another kind of time. 20 years had passed. So in other words, Gecko was 60.
Coming out of jail and Greed and all this stuff. He's coming up with his book launch.
It's another young man, and Josh Brolin was playing a key role. He was playing the Gecko role as a young man. Oh, I'm sorry. So that was a whole different ballgame. But
I was just upset they killed my character. Gordon Gekko's son was killed
and he
off.
had a daughter.
They replaced the son with a daughter.
You were in it?
No, so I was Gordon Gekko's son in the original.
That's right. Yeah.
And the son is supposed to have killed himself in the original Wall Street.
That's part of the story.
Did that kind of like, hey, what's up, Dad? What's the story all
If
about?
you had Gordon Gekko as a father, you might kill yourself too.
I think he.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. But
that was a great cast, and Frank Langella, I have to say, played an old tycoon. He was perfect.
By the way, I love Josh as well.
Josh was
Josh
great.
is phenomenal.
And Michael is always underrated, but he was really good in the movie.
You're going to think I'm crazy when I tell you this, but the last 13 and a half years, I've been working on my first fiction book to write, ever. Fiction book to write. And while I finished this book, a year ago, I got the strangest phone call about one of the characters in the book where the guy wanted to meet with me, and he read the book. And afterwards, is like, wait a minute, am I the villain in the book? This is a story about a character named Asher, who is half Armenian, half Assyrian, whose father was involved in the Iranian Revolution, linked to Savak, working with the Shah, that they escape and he gets recruited to a secret society. Well, when you go to the secret society, it's been around for a couple thousand years. They've developed some of the craziest leaders of all time. And they test you. There's unique tests that they have at the society where they test to see your emotional mental toughness. One of the tests that they have is very rigorous. It's purely mental. Of course, there's a physical one, but one is mental and emotional. If you're Armenian, if you're Syrian, if you're Persian, this is a book you're going to be reading and saying, holy moly, this is the kind of stuff you talk about in here? Yes. If you're somebody that's fascinated by history, this is a book for you. Characters. There's a technology that this society, secret society, builds where you go into a vault. I won't spoil it for you. When you go down, they have a technology where you get to sit down and watch and have a 3-4 hour conversation with Tupac. You can set up a debate between Karl Marx and Ayn Rand. Karl Marx is in the book, who wrote Communist Manifesto. Ayn Rand, who wrote Atlas Shrugged, is in the book. Marilyn Monroe explains the concept of seduction and sex in the book. When you read the book, it's about development of the next leaders in the world and how they do it and how they've been doing it for many years. And it's also about how to prevent the end of civilization and how this organization goes about doing it. So, I've never written a parenting book before, but if I ever wrote a parenting book, this is the closest thing to it because it's all mindset, a lot of crazy stories. Again, 13 and a half years. Trust me, I told myself I will not publish this book until I sell my insurance company and I'm fully disconnected from it, where it's no longer my responsibility 100%. When you read this, if you're a creative person, if you like fiction books, if you enjoyed Atlas Shrugged, or if you enjoy Divergent, if you like books like that, I think you're gonna enjoy reading this book. It's the creative side. Business books is very easy. Here's how you do it, here's how this how it works. This is very creative. If you haven't placed the order yet, now you can order it on Simon & Schuster, Amazon. I'm gonna put the link up below somewhere here, maybe even in my profile. Go order the book and read it. I've never written a book where I can't wait to read your reviews to see what you think about this book. So I'm going on this wild journey, and we have some plans with this book here. If you support the things that I work on, I would appreciate you going and reading the book, order the book on Amazon, and then post a review. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.